This is the 19th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, X-Zone Lures, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, Spro, Gamakatsu, Big Bite Baits, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing. It is November 27th, which is hard to believe. Thanksgiving has come and gone. Hopefully everybody had a lovely Thanksgiving, got to go spend time with their friends and family. I ventured to Illinois to spend time with both sets of my aunts and uncles. I didn't get to see my uncle from New Orleans. He was doing stuff in New Orleans. But if you follow BTL, you know that I have a love affair with gas stations, and I experienced a new gas station on the way back just outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Wally's, which will give Buc-ee's a run for its money. It's more of a think of like Christmas Vacation 1980s, probably about 100 gas pumps. I did an Instagram story on it, but I was very intrigued with Wally's. It definitely won in the popcorn category and the scone category, but I still give Buc-ee's the edge in the brisket category and the take-home frozen foods category. So I might have to have Matt Steffen on to debate that, or Dave Mercer on to debate that. We did a thing about Buc-ee's. But anyway, today, big day in the land of internet. It's Cyber Monday, which I guess is where all the deals are online on Monday. So a lot of stuff going on in the fishing industry. Therefore, we have a good show today. We're going to start out with Pate Shumaker from Pro Guide Batteries. He's going to talk about some deals, but then also it is kind of that holiday season. He has a connection to St. Jude, which, as if you know, I'm very passionate about St. Jude. Just visited St. Jude with a bunch of other guys, Adam Bartuzek from the Crappie Chronicles, Fat Cat, Newton, and then Gretchen set it all up. So we're going to talk to Pate about that. He has a connection with Pro Guide. And then in the second half of the show, we're going to get BTL favorite Justin Lucas is going to jump on the show. And I think it's interesting because, you know, there's been a lot in the industry, a lot of videos, a lot of YouTube videos, podcasts about, you know, what is a professional angler now. And one of the things that Jacob Wheeler said when he was on last month was that it's all about a brand now, and it's all about creating a brand, and that these anglers at the top are realizing that it's not just about tournament fishing and results, which it there has been. Hank even talked about this, Hank Parker, when we had him on 2 weeks ago, but it's all about creating a brand. And the guys who actually could probably just fish and make a good living, like the Jacob Wheelers and the Justin Lucas, they're the guys who are working the hardest to create a brand. So we're going to get Justin Lucas on to talk a little bit about that. But for now, let's bring in Pate. Pate, thanks for jumping on BTL. Greatly appreciated.
Absolutely, man. Well, happy to be here, and happy Cyber Monday.
It is. Is that a big, is that big for you guys in the battery market for Cyber Monday at all? Like, I mean, I would imagine that's got to be like you ship a bunch of batteries everywhere, but aren't there all sorts of rules and regulations and all that on what you can and can't ship across the country and international with batteries? It's got to be a nightmare.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of regulations and rules. So no, Cyber Mondays, hey, we're all here for it, but we're not betting our Christmas future on it by any means.
What are you buying on Cyber Monday? Are you an online shopper?
Gosh, no, I'm not. I get all that, we're inundated with ads these days, right? So I may pick up something, I don't know, but there's nothing that I'm eyeing. So
all right, for those of you who don't recognize Pate, he's kind of the man behind Pro Guide Batteries. He is stepping in right now. Matt Looney, who has been on the show, I think 3 times over the past 2 years, and has really kind of educated not only me, but a lot of the BTL listeners on what batteries go where and why when you turn things on, certain things work. And I was calling him a couple weeks ago. I thought I had my batteries plugged in, Pate, but I only had them plugged in on like from the outlet to the boat, and then the key
yeah.
part is the outlet to the wall outlet, which provides power. Anyway, so I called him. He got me figured, and I said, "Hey, you want to jump on to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with Pro Guide?" And he's like, "Man, I'm still running the pro staff. I'm still doing a bunch of stuff with social media, but Pate, you're kind of running that aspect of Pro Guide now."
Yeah, no. So Pro Guide Batteries is a part of our company. We've been a battery distributor, battery retailer since 1980. So we've been selling batteries into this game a long time. My father started Pro Guide Batteries, and we've been a part of the regional fishing industry for nearly 40 years. And with lithium coming on, we did a bunch of testing. We did a bunch of figure out what was going to be the best solution for anglers. So I kind of stepped in and started doing some testing, working with different factories, figuring out what's going to be the best product. So kind of took the next step forward in our brand and the product that we were offering. We've always offered. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying, when was the first time you heard of lithium batteries in the boat? Because I remember covering the Elite series when there was a couple guys that were like, "Hey, I've got this system. I've got these batteries. They're so much lighter. It's lithium." But like in the battery game, like when was the first time like kind of that marine lithium came to your attention?
It was probably 2000. Well, I remember specifically we were at Bass Cat, and Dad and I were there to see Rick and having a conversation. This was years ago, and I remember he had a prototype in one of the boats there, and we looked at it. I remember we first started looking at it in 2013 or 14, and we started testing product. And I actually had one of the memories pop up. Had a boat in the shop up here with a 55-gallon drum and a trolling motor running in it, just to see how long one would just last. And that was 2015 when we really first started testing different chemistries, cell types, and manufacturers.
And then Pro Guide Lithium's debuted, I want to say, in 2020. 2019, 2020. Oh, I got the year right. I knew I was within 3 years. Either way, I shouldn't have second guessed myself. So you guys worked on that for 5 years before you went to market with it.
Yeah. We had the product that you see today, the 31M100, which was our flagship battery that we released there in 2020. We had that battery in the field for over 2 years testing before we actually launched it.
Okay, so you had like your pro staff guys. Like, did Pete Winters have one in his boat there at Table Rock? I'm just guessing on that. I just fished it. Dude, that guy is a legend. If you guys want to go out on Bull Shoals, Table Rock, any of those stuff, and have a great day on the water, Pete Winters, guy's been around for 30, 40 years, guiding legend in that part of the country.
He's the man.
But he had one of those, so then you put him in those guys' boat and said, "Run the heck out of this. Let us know what happens."
Yeah, we had another local guy, and he ran a set for about 3 years, and he called me and he said, "Hey man, I don't know, I kind of feel like they're slowing down a little bit." And I was like, "Okay, well, 3 years, let's bring him in, let's see what's going on." And we brought him in, charged him, went through a discharge cycle with him, and they had lost 3% capacity. So they'd lost 3% in just under 3 years. So we've been really happy with the results, of the product in the actual boat, and what kind of cycle life those things are given.
I should have done this in the pre show meeting. So Matt hooked me up with the Pro Guide Power app. Is that like out for the public yet, available yet? Because I can log on. Look at that. I can log on and see like what all my lithiums and stuff are doing.
Yeah, so it's on limited SKUs. It's not on every battery, but it is on the 150 amp hour, the 12 volt. It's on the 36 volt 50. It's on the 24 volt 72, the 50, the smaller 50 amp hour, the cube style, and then the 24 amp hour for like the kayaks. Yes, sir.
All right. Is that a big market, the kayak market that's coming on? It seems like more and more kayaks are
Oh man,
15-inch, 20-inch screens on them now.
It's incredible. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's a lot of love in that market for sure.
Yeah,
It's good stuff.
and then we're also seeing it go into ice fishing, which I assume would be the same battery ice fishing that you use for the kayak, because you got to lug the thing across the ice or have it in the kayak and have it pretty small.
Yeah, the ice fishing guys are using that like 9 to 24 amp hour. A lot of customized systems that you see, like portable, forward-facing sonar setups. To kind of, there's really not a standalone setup, and that's the same thing with kayaks.
Yeah.
Like what we've seen is we expected, to take these smaller, just run electronics, and we go to shows and guys walk up and they're like, "Where's the biggest one you have? That's the one we want." And it's like, "Oh, okay, sweet. Here's the 150 amp hour," and they go, "Great." And that's what they use. It's kind of blown my mind.
Huh. All right. Trend wise, and like I said, I'm hitting you with this question cold. So you go to ICAST every year, you start seeing certain trends. We had trolling motor wars for a while, where everyone was coming out with their own brand of trolling motors, and they all had, the pool, the tub, and everyone would say like how fast my trolling motor is, and it's quiet, and it doesn't have, it's brushless and all. Then we had the cooler wars is kind of what kicked it off, where you'd go to ICAST and there'd be 8 million different types of coolers, and everyone had it. Well, now, I mean, I'm fairly confident saying we're in a lithium battery war right now. There seems like there are so many different types, and everyone says they have the different. Is that something that you're well aware of? And is that a massively growing market? Is the lithium battery category amongst recreational and bass fishermen? And how do you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, like you said, I don't know that I'd call it a war. It's just we're in that early phase of that adoption cycle where you got a lot of people that are interested in learning about it. You have a lot of people that can read about it. I think it's a confluence of technology from a battery side, but also just the internet. And then the other piece that probably drives the biggest part of this is, what batteries are dirty and heavy, right? And they're hard to lug around. Nobody wants to put one in their car. Well, with a lithium battery, people are shipping them, and that, I think, kind of that direct to consumer model is a really big deal. And I think that you're going to see brands come and go. You're going to see some brands really solidify themselves. I think you'll continue to see your traditional battery guy do what they do. I don't think there's I don't think it's going to be the end all be all. And I think there's just continued progress to be made in the battery chemistry overall. Whether it's lithium iron phosphate, it's not going to be the final say so. So there's all kinds of stuff happening, and it's much more fluid than what the battery industry's been for the last 40 years, 50 years. So that makes it fun, honestly. It's just like figuring out new stuff and pushing the limits and seeing what you can come up with.
Has there always been a constant growth in the battery game, or is it is this like kind of a new frontier when the lithiums came out that all the companies were like, all right, we got to get chemists and scientists and people in and figure out how to do this new thing? Or was that kind of the same transition from your standard? Let's see if Matt Looney taught me right, from your standard lead acids to the AGMs and then AGMs to the lithiums. Was there that still kind of transition period from the lead acids to the AGMs where everybody was like, oh, we got to figure out this AGM deal? Is that a fair question? I don't even know if that's the right question.
It is. Yeah, totally. The adoption to AGM was pretty slow. I think you're going to see more AGM batteries sold now and more people use them now that lithium's here. It's kind of the good, better, best scenario, right? It's like when it was just flooded in lead acid, it's just one conversation, I'm going to double the price. And then when people see good, better, best, they go, well, I don't know if I want to jump to lithium. So AGM's a good option, and it's a fantastic option. So, but lithium is definitely I think it's accelerated quicker than what AGM's adoption was, for sure. But I still think, for the number of ads to batteries sold still doesn't line out. There's still way more lead acid and AGM batteries out there than lithium. But there's a lot of brands out there. It's like, oh, well, lead acid, you don't want to mess with that anymore. And from our perspective, we want to offer what the customer wants and what they need. And there's a lot of anglers out there that just, lithium is just, it's not totally necessary. So we want to be able to offer what the customer is looking for. I don't want to pressure them into buying some super expensive thing that they don't frankly think about all that often. But we also know there's a lot of guys that know exactly what they want. We want to offer that as well.
And then there's guys like me who are a mixture. I want to run AGM for some of my applications and lithium for other applications. And then once I get comfortable with how well the lithiums have performed, then I might switch over to the lithium cranking that they just came out with. But you've got some guys that are early adopters and not. All right, one more battery question.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on here. Reds Fishin's asking it. Tyler Duncan's fishing it. Obviously, the cost of lithiums is high. You can see lithiums out there on Amazon from below $300 to all the way up over $1,000. I think this is a good question. What the heck is the difference between, because cost is obviously the biggest thing on it. I can't see many people be like, man, I'm going to drop $3,000 on batteries that I've used to spending $200 a battery on. But what's the difference between one of those sub $300 lithium batteries and a premium top of the line lithium battery in as much layman terms as you can go?
Yeah. I think I could give you probably a 25-minute answer on that.
That's I figured, yeah.
I think the simplest way to say it is that when you're buying any product, whether you're buying a Yeti cooler or a Bass Cat boat or whatever, you're obviously looking at the product, but then you also are looking at what's the service model behind it, who are the people behind it, how long have they been doing this? So that's not going to equate for the $300 to the whatever dollar gap, but that peace of mind is worth something, and that service has a price. Unfortunately, I wish we could just I could tell you that I can't even get anywhere close to what you see on Amazon at times, but we know where the market is, and we feel really comfortable with the specifications and features to give you like the 30-second reasoning why. Internal structure is very important. The actual quality of the BMS is very important. What the BMS can handle is super important. The certifications, all those little logos and things on the front of the battery and that nobody looks at or reads, those are very expensive. And to actually ship legally and to do all the things legally and ethically, those have to be done. Those tests have to be paid for and approved. And I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that my products will pass all those tests and do all those things that legally they're supposed to do. So it really comes into a judgment thing. And I think the easiest thing to say is it comes down to who stands behind the product. So it's a hard one to answer though.
No, that's I realized after I asked that would be like saying, well, what makes one rod $30 and another rod $500, and then you've got a master rodsman who's like, well, which component and deal do I want to go into to explain this? That's a whole show in and of itself. So, all right.
No, it definitely can be.
Pro Guy Batteries, longtime sponsor of BTL, Bass Talk Live. Great relationship with them. I run them in my Bass Cat in the opens. Have never had a single issue with the Pro Guide, and I don't even have to knock on wood around here because regardless, when you ask about have you ever had, it's like the co-angler who gets in, looks back and goes, "You ever had motor issues?" And you just look at him, guy, and not answer that question until after today. But 100% confidence in them. So Matt Looney did send me, let's see if I can pull this up. You guys do have some PGL fall sales going on. Those actually go through, I believe, the end of the year.
Yep.
You have those pulled up. And I will say, I want to give BTL listeners a lot of credit. From what I have seen and from the feedback that I've gotten from Pro Guide, this is how a partnership or a sponsorship is supposed to work. You guys have supported Pro Guide and put them in a lot of your boats who listen to this show with great success. So massive shout out to the BTL family for taking those, Matt, I mean, they're not that thrilling, to be honest with you, but they're so educational. The Matt Looney shows where he starts going into all the different ways the batteries work. But anyway,
Yeah,
if you guys are looking into getting into some new batteries for the 2024 season, now is a good time.
absolutely.
Can you
Yeah,
walk through the sales here? I'll pull this up right
yeah. So we've got 3 batteries that are on sale through the end of the year. So the 24M50 is a group size 24. So these are all 12-volt models. The first two is a group 24, 12-volt, 50 amp hour. That's going to be a comparison to your standard, any kind of standard flooded battery, from 160 to a 225 minute group 27, group 31 flooded battery. The 24M75, again, group 24, 12 volts, 75 amp hour. You're going to be comparing to like a standard 31 AGM. Okay. So your capacity wise, you're going to be very similar. And then the 24M75 ST is the group 24 starting battery. That does meet all mercury requirements for the date that they've published. So each of these are on sale right now through the end of the year. And one of those things where it's just like anything in life, everybody wants the biggest. So when we released our core models, the 50 and the 75, I really figured that those would be some of the best movers, a little bit lower price. Apples to apples is going to give you a really strong comparison in what your runtime looks like, but then also going to just 5 to 7 times more cycle life. So turns out everybody just wants the big one, and that's awesome. I love it. But I got some inventory to move, and so we got a sale going on. And to piggyback this sale, we actually, as of today, to all retail, to all dealers, we're actually lowering pricing across the board. So not just a sale, but like all pricing is coming down. Like for the 3100 specifically, it's going to come down from $899 to $799, and all the whole entire lithium line is 6-volt is dropping, the 24-volt, the 150, the new starting battery, all that's coming down. So we do have a sale going on, but then in addition to that, we are just lowering pricing overall.
Awesome. And that is ProGuideBatteries.com. And on ProGuide Batteries, if you can find where your nearest dealer is, you can ask questions on that. You could contact, you could register your batteries. There's tech support on that website, the whole 9 yards. Anything else battery wise before we touch on St. Jude and I let you get back to business? I know the day after a holiday is a busy day, probably.
It's all office. Good. No, I'm happy to be here. Battery wise, no, I think that covers it.
All right. I did not know that your family had been personally touched by St. Jude. Earlier this year with Adam Bartuzik and the Crappie Chronicles, we went up to Minnesota to do a fundraiser for the St. Jude Bass Classic. And I contacted Matt and I said, hey, is there any way that you think ProGuide could give $100 gift certificate that we could raffle off at this at Erd? And he came back and said, not only would we do that, we can do a $500 gift certificate. So we went up there and we raffled it off. We raised over $4,000 for St. Jude just from that one event. ProGuide, some of the other BTL sponsors, the Crappie Chronicle sponsors, all donated a lot. But Matt texted me and he's like, Pate and his family are connected to St. Jude. Like they've actually benefited. And I said, no, I didn't know that. So I haven't actually talked with you about this in person. Are you cool? Like kind of sharing your story and how St. Jude has kind of impacted your family?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So in March of 22, he's now 4-year-old son, Truman, was diagnosed with leukemia, B-cell ALL. That's what it's technically called. Went through, had a couple months of just kind of random sicknesses and just kind of strange. We're actually on vacation. He got really sick, and we actually were in the hospital down at Gulf Shores and airlifted him to St. Louis. He was diagnosed with leukemia there, and we were sitting there, kind of just in the fog of it all, just like, holy cow, this is a lot. And I had a really good friend. He's now a friend. He actually just sold us insurance corporately and had for a number of years. And he calls me. I'd only told a number of people, and he calls me out of the blue. And his son had lymphoma, And he said, Patey's like, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you that you need to go to St. Jude's. And anyway, we were in a whirlwind of trying to figure out what was going on. So we did. We decided it was a very difficult decision to leave one hospital's care to go to another, another ambulance ride for Mr. Truman. But we did. So we got to St. Jude's, and the only way that I can really explain it is we were in 3 different hospitals in about a 10-day window. And there's a lot of really good medical care in this country, but St. Jude's is just a complete next level. And the amount of care and compassion that they give your children, they give the parents the support, it's absolutely insane. We were pushed to go to St. Jude just because of the medical, the level in which St. Jude's medical team is. Our doctor, Truman's doctor, Dr. Pui, is the world leading physician when it comes to childhood leukemia, like the world's leading expert, literally. And that is Truman's doctor. And it's just a really, really incredible scenario. There's so many stories of how amazing that facility is, that organization. I'll give you an example. This was April. We were only been there a couple days, and the war in the Ukraine had broke out, right? Russia's invaded. It's all a wild time. I'm not really watching the news. We're in a hospital room, and we get word. It kind of went through the hospital that St. Jude is bringing patients from Ukraine over, and come to find out that St. Jude's had flown private jets all the way to Kiev. I'm not exactly sure, and pulled every child that had cancer in Ukraine that they could medically move and brought them to Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow.
At the break of that war. Yeah. It just incredible. So to say that they have an impact is just there are no words. So St. Jude's is important to my family, but just you take it for granted when you see all those ads on TV, but they are changing people's lives every day.
And you guys were at the Memphis facility?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, that's wild. You kind of go through those gates, and the way I explained it was I wasn't excited to go there, but then you walk in and it's such a positive, calming vibe, like with the lighting, and there's so much hope in that it doesn't feel like I expected sterile hospital. And obviously I'm sure there are some portions of that hospital that you don't ever want to see that are sterile at hospital like, but as far as the outside, and then they took us into that research building, I'm sure where Dr. Pui worked, and you walk in and you go through and they take us in, and there's like that big weird sculpture in there. And then there's like that and then you look up and it's like 6 stories of all glass on the side. And there's like those are the scientists. Like that's where they're developing research and cures and testing. And it's cool because they don't have any doors. It's like a glass window, and each floor is a different focus, but there's no like offices. Like it's one, and it's literally like lab coats and smart doctors on computers and stuff. And you're like, holy cow, this is where this stuff is actually going down. So what's Truman's kind of status now? Like, where do you guys stand?
Yeah. So with leukemia, it's there's again, I didn't know what I didn't know, but leukemia is a pretty long treatment plan. It's traditionally about 2.5 years. So we added on, and again, I could talk about this for a long time, but essentially it's about a 2.5 year treatment. So he is in the final phase, which is the longest phase. The third phase is 120 weeks. And I think we've got about 57, 60-ish weeks left. We should finish around January of 25 is when he should be done. So he is in remission, but because it's a blood cancer and it's in the bone marrow, it's a constant. He gets treatment every week. We give him actually chemo at home at night. It's just kind of a, but he's a 4-year-old little boy that's got more joy and passion than a lot of kids, because he's seen some hard days, so he likes the good days. So
wow, yeah, I have a second. I only have 4 cousins, so I'm fairly. I don't talk to them as much as I should. My mom's always yelling, "You gotta call your cousins more." But one of my cousins had a little girl, and she was diagnosed with leukemia when she was 3 as well, and was in Cincinnati, so went to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Went through that whole process, and I remember how scary that was, just being removed from it, but having a family member. And now she's 12, and she's a Swiftie who play soccer and all sorts of sports, and obviously has to go in every year to get checked, but doesn't even remember the process and is happy and healthy. So hopefully you're on that same path there, Pate.
We are. Yeah. Yes, we are.
All right. Well, that's like I said, I've gotten 3 or 4 BTL listeners too, who are like, hey, I have a child who's been affected. I've gotten a call from people in Oklahoma who are like, I have a kid or a relative. So just something that drives it home. All right. Anything else you want to get in here before I let you go? I greatly appreciate you jumping on BTL, talking a little bit about batteries, and then also sharing your story.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate the opportunity to come in here and chat about the sale, talk about St. Jude's. It's good stuff. Hopefully I filled those Matt Looney shoes. It's probably tough to do.
No, you did. Hey, are we headed towards another Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm a pretty big Chiefs fan, so
I mean, it's kind of looking Chiefs-Eagles again, isn't it?
It very well could. And you know what? I'm kind of superstitious, so I'm glad we lost in the regular season.
Okay.
Kind of makes me feel like, you can't beat a good team twice, right? So
yeah, I don't know. I just last night for the first time I watched that Kelsey documentary.
Yeah, I've not seen it.
Yeah, if you wouldn't like it because it's pretty Eagles heavy. I'm a Bucks fan now because that's where Baker is, and I'm an OU grad, so I always got to root for Baker. But we've also got Jalen, who's technically an Alabama guy, but he played for OU for a year too. So
yeah,
and then after watching that,
I would consider him an Oklahoma guy.
Yeah, he got a good year in. We got 3 now. We got Kyler, Baker, and Jalen all starting. Yeah. So, but anyway, all right. I appreciate it, Pate. Thank you for jumping on. Have a good morning.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks, Matt.
All right, see ya. All right, that was Pate Shumaker from Pro Guide Batteries. Like I said, his grandpa started, his dad took it over. They've done batteries for the last 40 years. So if you guys are in the market, check out Pro Guide. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, one of the top guys in the game, a friend of BTL, the one and only Justin Lucas. I would be interested to see if Justin had the balls to do his own Thanksgiving. Like he just doesn't strike me as a guy who can handle a turkey and the sides and I think he's kind of a one-trick pony with the steaks. So I'll be interested to see on how he handled the Thanksgiving festivities. But it's BTL on Cyber Monday. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Taiwan Strike King.
All right, guys, if you're a construction worker, soccer dad, soccer mom, you want to be outdoors, you've seen the Reaper. This right here is the zip-up full Reaper, but it's windproof, folks, windproof. And it actually has the mast built in. It's behind me. I mean, if you can look good, feel good, and stay warm, you better check it out. It's the zip-up Reaper. That's right, windproof.
Shoreline Boat and RV, dock rash, storm damage, collision repair, that deep scratch or gouge from trying to access that secret creek. Shoreline Boat and RV can get your prized possession back in mint condition and looking good on the water, fast. All repairs are done in-house, so they're able to get your boat or RV back to brand new, quickly.
All Shoreline's work comes with a rock-solid warranty. Find out more at ShorelineBoatandRV.com. Kansas City, Austin, and Tulsa.
All right, we are back, BTL, on a Monday. There's Justin Lucas. Go horizontal with your phone, Justin.
My bad.
It's all good. You know better than that.
I don't know better than that. You don't have me on enough to know better than that.
Oh, that's not true. You're probably like the fifth most often on guest on BTL.
I feel like it's been a while, though, dude.
It definitely has been a while. What do you do for the Thanksgiving thing? Are you like the patriarch yet where you're like in charge of doing all the Thanksgiving stuff? Or do you just like load the family up and go somewhere else? Shirk all responsibility of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I did a lot of loading up this year and going other places. I did not cook actually anything. I haven't been cooking that much, man. I don't know. It's not that I was burned out on it, but I think I was putting on some weight eating like I was. So I had to get a little off season, get in shape a little bit this off season, cool it on some of the cooking, at least some of the heavy eating.
I was too, man. I like looked in the mirror on the side one time and I was like, ooh, that chin is not looking as strong as it used to. What did you do? Did you actually like diet? Did you do the deal? Because I started doing, I'm like 90% of the time, I'm like 2 cups of coffee until afternoon, and then I'll do 1 piece of meat, and then I won't eat after 8.
I like that. So you're doing some intermittent fasting, it sounds like.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not like die hard on it. Like, I was home and I made like an omelet in the morning, but like 90% of the time, like I won't eat until noon today.
I'm still eating a lot. I would say I'm still eating quite a bit. I'm trying to get like 160 grams of protein a day. I was up to 176 and a half pounds, and now I'm down to 167. So I'm down like 9 pounds, dude. I feel really good. But the main thing, believe it or not, and I'm not sponsored by Garmin, so this isn't a plug for Garmin, but I got this Garmin watch, and just being able to really track your activity, your total calories burned, your total expenditure through the day, and then not eating over that has been huge. So that's been the deal.
Aren't you a bring stuff in Tupperware containers guy on the water?
I'll eat like avocados, cottage cheese, hard-boiled eggs, some nuts, banana.
Yes. Yeah. You bring like the healthy stuff.
I try to. I mean, of course, dude, sometimes you just got to go with what you can get at a gas station, and that's going to be some jerky or whatever, nuts. But I try to eat healthy. But you've been doing this now. You're traveling, and it is hard when you're on the road trying to eat healthy, man. It's really tough.
I kind of prefaced the first part of the show of bringing you in, and right now there's a lot of YouTube channels and podcasts and everyone out there that's talking about a lot of different stuff across the board. And the biggest, there's a lot of gripes about it, but what I have seen is kind of a theme where there's a theme about creating a brand, right? Am I wrong about this? And how it's not so much about your strict on the water performance now, but it's everything that you do around it that encapsulates the brand, that provides value for these companies that are moving, shaking, shifting, growing, shrinking. And I've noticed, and Wheeler is the one who explicitly pointed this out, was it's not just so much on the water performance anymore. And then I noticed it seems like the guys who could actually survive with their on the water performance are the guys who are hustling the hardest off of the water to grow their brand around their on the water performance. And you kind of seem like one of those guys, Justin. Is that a fair assessment?
I think it's fair, man. I got too involved in stuff.
Politics?
I got too involved in stuff back in 2019, just getting on an angler board and things I shouldn't have been doing. I got off of that. I focused on fishing. I had a good conversation with my boss at Phoenix Boats, Teresa Johnson. She's amazing. Of course, Gary's my boss too. Yep. Teresa is awesome. And she told me, I remember her telling me, as long as your fishing's good, things are going to be fine for you. And so I got off that board. And ever since 2020, heavy hitters in 2020 at Toho when Jordan Lee won, dude, I've just been focused on having fun, not getting caught up in the drama. I try and stay out of it as much as possible and just focus on fishing and fishing well and continuing to do social media. I'm not nearly as good at it as a lot of these guys. But I try and do my part. I try and do what I'm capable of. But I love spending time with my family. And that's a thing for me in the off season is spending time with my family. I'm gone from my kids a lot. People ask what's the hardest part about this job? There's really nothing hard about this job, in my opinion. Like going fishing for 14 hours is not hard. I don't think the traveling's, the actual traveling, I don't think anything is hard. It's the best job in the world. I'm incredibly lucky to do it. But the only hard part is just being gone from family at this point in my life. Like that is really tough when you come back and your kids are doing something different than they, weren't doing before you left, or they're saying new words or just learning whatever, and you're not there and you miss some of that, man. That's the really hard part. So my focus has turned to totally shift on quality family time in the off season, obviously keeping up with fishing and, social media and staying relevant and all of that. But I gotta just stay out of all the stuff, man. There's way too much drama, so much negativity out there. And I watch some of it and I'm just like, gosh, man, the negativity it's not for me, man. I like positivity now, and I'm trying to focus on that.
Cooper, right? Because I follow you on Instagram.
First fish on this show, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember he did.
Yeah, go ahead.
He did catch his first fish, wasn't it? You were live, and then he started yelling, and you were like, "Hold on, this is his first cast to catch ever."
I think it was a yellow perch at Lake Champlain.
Oh, I need to go back and pull that clip.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Anyway, talking to you off camera, just in life and stuff, like he loves fishing.
He's ate up with it, dude. We take him quite a bit. We go down to the water, even if it's just off the bank or a dock, whatever. But we definitely try and get him out there as much as possible. And he asked for it. It's not something I'm forcing him to do. And he fishes off the bank or a dock. We do that more than going on the boat. But he is totally ate up with it. I think he's going to have that in him if the path stays like this. My other son, his name is Decker. He just turned 2. Cooper just turned 6. But Decker, if it's got anything to do with sports or a ball or, anything like that, he's all about it. So I think I've got 2 totally different kids. One that loves the outdoors, one going to be an athlete based off what we're seeing so far. But he's only 2. You don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's going to go play for OU and be a quarterback, but he might. You never know.
He could make a good life decision. Is your wife and her family athletic? Because your family is ridiculously athletic. Don't you have a brother who was like a MMA fighter, and then another brother that did something crazy? And then, you're probably the most unathletic out of the 3 of them.
Yeah, no, my youngest brother is most unathletic. He was the golfer.
Okay. Oh yeah, golfer. No, that takes
he's not
insane athletic.
I could smash him though, dude. But he's not golfing anymore. He started a business out in Arizona and he's running that. My middle brother, he was an Army Ranger, and then did some what would you call it? Kind of amateur MMA fighting after he got out of the service. So he is a bad dude. I quit messing with him when he was about 14. He got into wrestling, and that was the end of that. So but yeah, my side of the family, pretty athletic, nothing crazy. Bree's side of the family, not really athletic, I would say, but
okay. So Decker has an uphill climb.
He's got an uphill climb, but I did like baseball and basketball. I love playing baseball and basketball, but I quit those when I was 14. I remember telling my basketball coach going into sophomore year in high school, I was going to be starting point guard or whatever. And I went and met with him in his office and told him I was going to quit so I could focus on fishing. And he was trying to talk me back into, man, you're going to be starting on JV. Are you sure that's the decision you want to make? I'm like, 100%, dude. My dad's 5'6". The future's not looking so bright for me. So,
can you talk about the smallmouth that you posted? Because that looked absolutely insane.
Yeah,
What was the deal with those? Like it seems like you've done some like serious fishing during this off season, like some intentional fishing, not just like, hey, I'm out here at the lake. Like you've done a couple trips, you focus on a couple stuff, you've worked on some techniques. Fair.
Yeah, I definitely have been working on techniques, forward facing sonar, obviously, you know, the drill with that. So I want to continue to get better at it. I feel like I've embraced it point, but not to its full potential. So I have to make sure that I'm continuing to get better with that. And I've tried to make trips that are like I went to Lake Chattooga with Tackle Warehouse in September.
Okay.
Amazing time out there. I'm not going to say the lake, just like, I don't know if people saw my
I don't want to burn anything.
Yeah, I don't want to say the lake I went to for smallmouth. If people do their own research like I did, they can find out. But, you know, I went out to that lake with a friend from Texas, really good friend of mine from Fort Worth, and he had somebody take his truck and boat up there, and I flew out and we went fishing, and it was just an amazing time. No cell service for basically 3 days, and just got to learn so much about forward-facing sonar, even for me, you know, as much as I've been using it, things I didn't know, and just getting better at tracking the fish and understanding what bigger fish look like and what fish will bite, what fish won't. So, and then I've just been spending a lot of time on Gunnersville when I get free time, you know, and Gunnersville's coming back, man. This lake it's been an impressive fall out here. There hasn't been many falls that I can remember where, you know, 17, 18 pounds would normally be a really good bag. And we're going out there catching 17, 18 pounds, like pretty easily, dude. I know there was a tournament the other day, it took 30 pounds to win. So,
oh, wow. Yeah,
the weights out here have been really good. And, you know, even just going out and fun, targeting spotted bass on purpose, you know, and catching really nice spotted bass using forward-facing sonar. So, dude, just having a good time, enjoying every chance I get to get on the water and trying to learn during those times. And then when I'm not on the water, just trying to spend time with family, soak all that up.
So you're going on Gunnersville, specifically targeting spots, I assume around the bluffs on the lower and all that stuff, doing the spotted bass thing, going, hey, I know that I could catch a 25 to 30 pound bag, but this is what's going to benefit me come next year and the BPT schedule. So I'm going out and I'm going to try to catch spotted bass on Gunnersville.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to just go out and try and catch them all day, but if I get in an area where I'm like, start seeing some on the grass when they're spots, it's like, well, let's see what we can do here. And then you end up catching some 3 3/4, almost 4 pound spots. And
you're so they're like legit in there now.
Dude, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they've always been here, because I've heard from people, you know, I've got a 4 or 5 pound spot there before. But some people don't even know, you know, they'll catch a largemouth and say it's a spot sometimes.
Yeah.
So, but from what I've seen, I've lived here since 2010 now, so quite a while. And what I've seen the past couple years on spots, they just seem to be fatter and more prevalent than ever before. And you're just catching them, dude. You'll catch them mixed in with largemouth, and then you can catch them, you know, grouped up together. It's pretty cool.
Have you done that whole Damiki thing that everyone's smoking them on out there and have been since the summer? Is that like is everyone out there with a spinning rod and a little shad bait on Gunnersville now?
I haven't done that much. I've messed with the hover rig. I've started messing with that a little bit, and it's a fish catcher, trying to learn that. And then just trying to learn, you know, what baits we have at Berkeley that I can use in forward-facing sonar. That's been a big thing for me. We have some new stuff coming. Been using some prototype baits over at Smith Lake that were really cool. And so, yeah, just have, you know, just doing a little bit of the Damiki rigging stuff, but mixing in some new stuff and trying to get ahead of the curve. Don't want to be behind it. Don't want to be chasing what's going on, you know, in the past.
Wait, so is there stuff that's going on now that hasn't been? You don't have to say what it is, obviously, but obviously the hover strolling Damiki thing is the hottest thing that's going on right now. It's what's exploding. Is there something already that some of these that you guys are figuring out now that we're going to be like, oh, you can do that too to catch a that's going to be exposed in 24? Because let's face it, if it's a tournament technique on the BPT or Elite Series, it's going to be exposed because of how much live coverage there is. Unless there's stuff, isn't there? I could tell based on the look on your face. You're thinking of something right now that there's like 20 people doing on Earth, aren't you?
I mean, dude, you are right about the hottest technique right now, all that deal.
But there's something after this that's got to be some sort of hybrid of this Demiki stroll and hover rig thing, isn't it?
I don't know about. There's some new stuff coming from Berkeley I can't talk about that has potential to be something really, really cool from what I've seen so far. But that's all I can say. And then other than that, just trying to fine tune and tweak and learn how certain baits act in the water, why certain baits are better than others, fall rate, all that different kind of stuff. So just trying to really kind of hone in on the stuff that does work and tweak it to, something that I might think. It was really cool, dude. The other day I was sitting on the couch. I'm like, I wonder if this would work. And I literally came out here to my shop. I'm out here rigging stuff up to this morning, but I came out here, rigged it up, went out the next day and got, got one almost 6.
Oh, show it to us.
A 4.5 and a 4 on this thing I had thought about. And I'm like, that's cool.
Is it tied on right there?
What's that?
Is it tied on right there on those rods next to you?
It is tied on, but there's no way I'm going to show you, Matt.
Just show us a little bit. There's like 6 people watching. No one listens to this show, Justin.
No chance. I know.
There's like 3 people on right now.
I know how many views you end up getting. I'm not showing it, dude.
Is it off the wall or is it just a tweak on the standard?
It's not off the wall. It's just kind of a tweak on the standard, but it is.
Does it involve a blade?
No blade.
Doesn't involve a blade. Does it involve an abstract weight?
It involves a nail weight. Let's put it that way.
That's an abstract weight. All right, yeah. The nail weight thing is endless possibilities on a nail weight.
Yeah.
Look, at least Jody White, Bassmaster Open champ Jody White, says he really appreciates the effort. He's one of the 3 that are.
I mean, he'll get a picture of it at some point next year, so there's that. He'll see it.
I wanted to talk to you about this before I let you go. You fished the Table Rock Championship, right? The Toyota series on Table Rock. All right, so I talked to Jeremy Lawyer. I think he's cool with me saying this about this tournament. He knows Table Rock. Table Rock suits your style. He was sitting there. We were all drinking a beer, and he's like, I took off on the first board, and I'm like, boat 170. He's like, I'm driving down the middle of the lake. He goes, there's 100 damn boats just sitting out in the middle, and it's all 20-year-old guys looking down live scoping. Did you experience that on Table Rock too, where you were like, what the heck are all these guys doing out here? Because the average age of Toyotas now, and well, you saw the Elite Series, the average age is like 25 out of the top 10, but all these Toyota guys for all year, it's like, oh, here's another 23-year-old that I haven't heard of. Did you notice that at the championship on Table Rock, just the abstract nature of the lack of patternability, I guess?
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I mean, obviously, I don't even know what to say. Fishing is so different than it was 5-6 years ago. But I'm not trying to let that affect me. Like I was fired up being in the bag line, having a decent tournament. I finished 14th. I was fired up being in the bag line, seeing these young guys around me, and obviously they're really, really good with it. And there's some great young guys coming up, man. It's exciting to see. But I think, you and I talked about this the other day. I think it's just really going to be on the leagues, Bass and MLF, in my opinion, to schedule tournaments that I just think scheduling is going to be so critical moving forward, not only for viewership, for fans, but also to keep the playing field, as level as possible, where we know forward facing sonar can catch fish in super shallow water, but let's make it difficult enough for them that the shallow water guys can possibly pound them that week if they can't figure out a little deal off the bank with forward facing. So I'm all about scheduling moving forward. If I have any part or any say in anything lately, that's it. I just think scheduling super important, and I still appreciate, just because I'm 37 now, dude, I look around that bag line and they're all really young guys, and I know what every one of them's doing. So I still appreciate and just have a lot of respect for the guys that came up before forward facing sonar, the guys that were older than me that I really looked up to. and I just like that real well-rounded fisherman. It's how I grew up. And so I'm not saying like my style specifically, but I love watching Bobby Lane flip.
Hey, you're going to get to do that this year.
Yeah. Just whoever. Greg Hackney.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Greg Hackney swim a jig in a foot of water. Whatever it is, Chris Lane throwing top water, just all that kind of, I say Bobby and Chris because they're friends of mine, but I appreciate all that stuff and I have a ton of respect for that. And I have respect for the forward facing game too. It's just a different animal. And so I have to be well-rounded at it. But I want to be able to still go out there and throw buzzbait, have fun doing that, be able to flip. And I enjoy flipping. That's probably one of my favorite ways to catch fish is just flipping wood or flipping toolies, whatever, So I think scheduling is going to be huge. I just want to see a good mixture of stuff on everyone's schedule for the fans' sake too, because I've been reading all the comments and I know how brutal some of this can be to watch online.
He kind of beat around the bush there. I know we've had a scheduling talk. Are you willing to go on record with what type of schedule you think would really behoove MLF and the Bass Pro Tour, especially moving forward in the next 3 to 5 years? Because after I got off the phone with you, I literally was like, you're right. That's what they need to do. That is the schedule that needs to happen that will bring eyeballs to this league and this format.
Yeah. I mean, I just think at the end of the day, I'm not a decision maker for anything.
Right. You got out of that in 2020. This is just me and you. What you said on the phone made so much sense. I literally got off the phone and went, yeah, that's what they need to do. No doubt.
I mean, I can just voice my opinion, right? And I can read people's comments and try to help things, try to make things better. And that's what I want to do. So, yeah, I think that scheduling for Major League Fishing specifically, they need to look. I would love to see them tell me that, hey, we're looking at every lake that has a slot limit. Lake Fork, obviously, is a big player. It always has been for catchway and release. Del Hollow is going to be an amazing tournament. I've never fished there, but I just hear so much good things over the years about it. Big slot limit there on the smallmouth. So they're going to be a player in our event. Super exciting. But I want to hear them tell me that they're looking for those, slot lakes and that they're looking for
Justin got a call. He'll be back. He's back.
Yeah, there we go. I got a phone call. Sorry about that.
Slot lakes.
Yeah, but those slot lakes and then the Sharon Harris, Lake Jordan.
10,000 acres or less, something that you can put 50 boats on.
Yeah, all this stuff where you can't have a 100-boat tournament. Let's focus on that, right? Let's go to those kind of places. And I know. Well, it all, if you're a local guy on any of these lakes, you always hate to see the big tournaments coming to town. So I feel for those people at the same time, right? I understand, like, man, we don't want our lake being shown off. But if Major League, there's a lot of people that have jobs at Major League Fishing. And if, they're going to stick around and be relevant and all this, I feel like they have to, embrace that niche that they have, that they can go to these slot limit lakes or these smaller bodies of water and go put on a great show and tell a story that's never been told before. Because that's a great thing about when you go to a new body of water. It doesn't really matter if forward facing is going to play or not. In my opinion, you want to know the quality of fish that live in the lake and how a tournament gets won there, period. And so Chowan River, I think, is
that's awesome. A great one too.
Yeah, Chowan River is going to be awesome. Del Hollow is going to be awesome. I'm really excited for the James River. We haven't had a professional tournament there. I don't know when the last time there's been one. So I think that's going to be a great one. So we've got 3 good ones next year on the schedule. And Toledo Bend, I think we have a good schedule next year. I really do for the BBT, but I want to see a focus moving forward that, hey, we know 4 tournaments a year. We need to focus on these special either size bodies of water or slot limit bodies of water.
And I think they've had great success there. Obviously, they hit it at a kind of an odd time of the year, but what is that Louisiana one, the Busey break ones and that where we saw awesome. The 12 to 14 pound fish where, every time they set the hook, you didn't Randy catch like a 13 or something. And there was like 3 fish for 35 pounds. Like, I think that is a niche that you can't have any competition in because you're taking the top anglers. You're going to have the smaller field starting in 2025. You're going to guarantee fresh, new stuff, and look at how successful it has been on that Sharon Harris and those 3 kind of lakes there from the first time in the Carolinas. I just talked to someone who fishes it all the time, and he said they're still catching 30-pound bags out of there, and that it hasn't really affected those fisheries much. But there's 100 fisheries across the country that are like that would suit you guys, that would be fresh and new, that would highlight new techniques, new bodies of water, and completely separate you from the comparison to the Elite Series.
I think if Major League Fishing is going to thrive and do well, they have to embrace that. I want to see us go to Venice, Louisiana, Ivy,
because you guys could take out of Venice then, and then actually fish where the bass are in Venice for 7 or 8 hours instead of 2.5.
Hey, you wouldn't have to run with a radar.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You don't have a radar on your boat, and you don't have to run 2.5 for 3 hours, whatever they did. That classic, that one.
Chuck wants to know the difference that a slot limit makes when it's catch, weigh, and release. You can catch, weigh, release anything. It doesn't matter what the slot is because you're catching, weighing, and releasing it.
Yeah, that's why, a lot of people don't know Lake Fork has a huge slot limit, and that's why, typical tournaments they're targeting fish under 2 pounds or whatever it is. I think it's 15 inches or 16 inches. They're targeting those fish and trying to get one big one. And, but that's part of what makes Fork so special is those fish from 16 to 24 inches or whatever can't be kept in a boat. And same thing at Dale Hollow with the smallmouth. So, there's quite a few lakes throughout the country. I obviously I'm biased, but I would love to see us go out west. Maybe if the gas prices will stay down and things, turn around and get better here in a couple of years, we can do that. So many great spotted bass places and obviously Clear Lake and the Delta, but we'll see if that happens or not. That's a big wish at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of a little up in the air right now, it seems. The Western leagues seem to be in a bit of, outside of Billy's and one bass, a little bit of turmoil.
It's just crazy out there because it's a lot to ask from anglers to go to, right? When most of the guys, 95% of them or more live east of Texas or Texas East. And you got California that when I first moved to Alabama, my grandpa, when he lived out there, I talked to him all the time, and the gas prices in California would be $1, maybe 80 cents to $1 more a gallon. And now they're $2 more a gallon. Like there's no reason. So the cost of expenses right there, you're talking an extra $400 probably on a guy to go out there for a tournament for truck and boat fuel. And there's just still not that much money to be made, but we could put on a great show. So there's that.
You won't just flash that new little rig that you got right there to your left up just for 2 seconds.
Hey, put it this way. I'm not even going to text it to you after we get off the phone.
Oh, that's cold-hearted.
I am not showing you, dude.
I'm sure Matt Steffens, if it involves a nail weight, Matt Steffens probably done a video on it already over the past 3 years.
Yeah, he probably has. I might talk to you about it on the phone, but I'm not sending you a picture.
Okay. Before I let you go, I talk about the package. Anything new on the social medias, on YouTube, anything that the listeners, viewers need to be on the lookout for under the Justin Lucas brand?
No, I would say nothing yet. I got some things in the works, but it's hard, man. It's a beast keeping up with social media.
You don't want a podcast? You want to start your own podcast?
I don't want to. It's a lot of work, dude. I give you a lot of credit. I know you got it. I know you have your hands full, and I wouldn't be able to handle it with fishing and family and everything. So I'm just trying to find my little niche, man, and trying to go my path and see where that takes us. So, yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to get in here?
No, man, I'm good. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Thanks, Justin.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
All right. See ya. All right. That is Justin Lucas. Refreshingly positive Justin Lucas. Like I said, there's a million different directions that you can go with that interview. You could go down the pure fishing route. You could go down the team deal route, the major league fishing route. But the dude is genuinely positive. I talked to him a lot off record too. And just like he is on air, that's the same positivity that he brings off air. And he says he's not working on anything specific. I would be on the lookout for his channel. I think he's about to come out with some really cool stuff. So, all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, talk about what we have going on for the rest of the week as we close out the month of November. BTL on a Monday. We'll be back right after this.
The great thing about the new Sensation soft plastics from Big Bite Baits, heavily scented, super soft, buoyant, comes in 7 great new shapes. I've got a couple of them of my signature series, the cliffhanger worm and the ramtail craw. Great for a flipping jig, football jig, swim jig, all that. Several other great shapes. Really excited about it. We've worked over the last year, catches fish all over the country, and I think it's going to catch fish for people everywhere you try it.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels, I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
All right, welcome back. Wrapping things up today, working on the schedule for the rest of the week. Uncle Frank will be back on Thursday, and then next week we have a great show. We have on the 4th we have Pete Glusick from Bass University who's going to jump on, and then on Wednesday the 6th, you guys have been asking for it. I'm going to jump out on the water tomorrow, probably Wednesday, and see if the crappie are biting. It's about that time. But on the 6th, Zeke Anderson, who's probably one of the top 5, I'll say it, he's probably one of the top 10 crappie guys in the country. He's taught a lot of guys who are crappie experts. A lot of what they know, whether he gets credit for it or not, is a different story. But Zeke is going to be in on the 6th to talk about bass guys who want to get into the Magnum crappie game this winter. Big shout out to Pate. Like I said, Pro Guide Batteries, big supporter of BTL. I think that I will be, there it is. Look, Pro Guide Batteries on their website, ProGuideBatteries.com, 10% discount code capital BTL. I don't believe that works on any of the sale prices, but if there's any other batteries that you want to get, lead acids, AGMs, anything at regular price, use that code capital BTL at ProGuideBatteries.com. And other than that, I think that's all we got for today. I said big shout out to Pate and Justin. I've also got some big stuff coming with St. Jude in the next couple of weeks. Get Gretchen off. I think she actually took like a week off, which is the first time I think she's ever done that. But we'll be back with that with some announcements with BTL and St. Jude. Same place, same time tomorrow morning. We'll talk to everyone later. See ya.